Yeah, dear students, I once again welcome you for the GATE coaching class session for the subject circuit theory. And in today's class, we are going to discuss about important problems related to AC circuit analysis. Okay, now let us move inside the subject. The most important factor that makes a difference between AC and DC is impedance. Okay, so the opposition parameter when a AC network comes into picture is Z, which is equal to combination of resistance plus reactance. Okay, for example, if it is an inductor, it is inductive reactance, and if it is capacitance, it is capacitive reactance. Next, another important factor which is one of the main parameter to differentiate AC from DC is frequency. Frequency is defined as number of cycles per second, and the standard frequency for an AC circuit is F is equal to 50 hertz. That is, a 1 hertz represents a combination of a positive and negative cycle. Similarly, 50 hertz refers to a combination of 50 positive and negative, right? At the same time, for a DC circuit, time tends to infinity, right? So F is equal to 1 by T, so 1 by infinity is 0, right? So for a DC circuit, the frequency is 0. At the same time, for a AC circuit, the frequency is 50 hertz. This is one of the major difference that every engineering student should understand. And when XL equal to XC, Z is equal to R. So under this condition, it exhibits the behavior of unity power factor. Okay, so this condition is very, very important in circuit theory, and we call this condition as resonance. Okay, now let us work out certain problems based on AC circuit analysis. Okay. Now consider this question, GATE 2018. The voltage across the circuit in the figure and the current through the circuit are given by the following expressions. V of t is 5 minus 10 cos of omega t plus 60 degree. I of t is 5 plus x cos omega t, where omega is equal to 100 pi radians. And if the average power delivered to the circuit is 0, then the value of x, okay, in amperes is, what will be the value of x? Up to 2 radians. Okay. So dear students, most of the questions what you have studied in your circuit theory for power and AC circuit analysis will be based on direct formula substitution. But the questions like this are very, very important, which will test your skill, right? Now let us go to the solution. So see, what is the value of voltage given? V of t is 5 minus cos omega t plus 60. And you should understand one thing, if the current is in terms of cos, the voltage should also be in terms of cos. Okay, so they must be in same trigonometric identity. That is very important. Right? So notice in the question, V is also in terms of cos and I is also in terms of cos, but V has minus sign and I has plus sign. So the first step of what we are going to do is we have to bring to the same. Okay, so let us convert V of t also into plus. So I'm going to subtract minus 180 degree. So omega t plus 60 minus 180 degree. So this will give you V of t is 5 plus 10 cos omega t minus 120 degree. And already you know that I of t is 5 plus x cos omega t, which is given in the question. And you're supposed to find the factor x. Okay. Now let us proceed. You should understand one important thing. The average power for AC circuit or a AC cycle or an alternating current is 0. Okay, so the expression for average power is VI plus V by root 2 into I by root 2 cos of angle between the voltage and current. So root 2 into root 2 will give you 2. And VI is nothing but maximum value, right? Okay, what is V naught I naught? 5 into 5 plus V1 into I1. What is V1? 10 into what is I1? That is what we are supposed to find. By 2 cos of angle between voltage and current is minus 120 minus theta. And you already know that cos of minus theta is cos theta. Okay. So now you know average power is 0. So 5 into 5, 25 plus 10 x by 2 of 0.5, because cos of 120 degree, right? It is nothing but minus 0.5 because it is the second quadrant. Okay. So it will be 5x by 2 plus 25. So that will give you 2.5x equal to 25 and x is equal to 10 amps. Okay. So questions like this will test your observation power very much, and so kindly be thorough with the formulas. Okay. So in this case, V naught and I naught is the V max as well as I max, and V by root 2 Vrms into I by root 2 Irms cos of angle between voltage and current. So this is the average power, and you already know that the average power for a AC circuit is always 0. Okay. Because if the average power delivered to the circuit is 0 given in the question itself. So that is an important clue which you should understand and kindly work out the problems thoroughly. Right? Thank you. Now let us proceed to second problem. Okay. Now, the figure shows an RLC circuit excited by the sinusoidal voltage 100 cos 3t, where t is in seconds. The ratio of the amplitude of V2 by V1. See, this is a very simple problem. This uses the rule of voltage division. Again, another important thing is both of them are connected in series. Okay. So problems like this are very simple to understand, and these problems will give the benefit of working out very fast. Okay. Now, first to find XL and XC. XL is omega L, 3 into omega already given, cos omega t. So, omega is equal to 3. X is 1 by omega c. Omega is 3 and c it's already given 1 by 36. Okay. So, XL is 3 and XC is equal to 12. Now, by using voltage division, V1 is 100 into 4 plus J3 divided by Z1 plus Z2. Okay. So what is Z1? R1 plus J XL. Z2 R2 plus J XC. Okay. So substitute that and you'll be finding V1 is 28.58. V2 is also very simple. Once again, you use the same rule, and V2 by V1 is 2.6. And take care, you're not, you don't have any ratio because you're going to divide the amplitude of V2 by V1. And these problems you have to effectively think. Okay. So you can, he's asking what is the ratio of amplitude of V2 by V1. Already voltage is given. From that you find V1 and V2. V1 is V into Z1 by Z1 plus Z2. V2 is V into Z2 by Z1 plus Z2. Okay. So we are using voltage division rule and we are getting a simple solution. Right. Now let us proceed to third question. The voltage across the terminal A and B shown in the figure is a sinusoidal voltage having a frequency of omega equal to 100 radians. When the inductor current is in phase with the voltage, this is very, very important. Okay. The magnitude of impedance seen between terminals A and B is what? So kindly understand, students, whenever AC circuit comes into picture, the phase relation is very, very important. For a pure inductor, the current lags the voltage by 90 degree. Okay. For a pure capacitor, the current leads the voltage by 90 degree. For a resistor, the voltage and current are in phase. Now you can notice that it has given a slight twist in the question when the inductor current is in phase with the voltage. Okay. Even the inductor exhibits a phase shift. He's saying that the current is in phase with the voltage. Okay, this is exactly a resonance condition for the inductor. Now, what is Xc? 1 by omega c. What is 1 by omega c? It's already given. Okay, so omega is 100 and c you just substitute, right? And j into XL. Now, you can notice that both the resistor and the capacitive reactance are connected in parallel, convert to an equivalent, right? 100 into minus j, 100 divided by 100 plus j, 100, where 100 is the resistance value, minus j 100 is the inductive, or sorry, the capacitive reactance. Okay. Now, together they are connected in series with inductor XL, right? So I'm just adding plus XL. So now after some slight manipulations, ZT is 50 plus minus J50 plus XL, because I'm just doing a simple complex calculation. Okay, so the total impedance is 50 minus J50 plus J into XL, right? Now, the most important point here is the current is in phase with voltage. So it shows that the inductive reactance is equal to capacitive reactance. That's what I call this as a resonance. So XL is equal to 50. Okay, because in the inductive reactance must be equal to capacitive reactance and both of them must be cancelling. Okay, so plus J50 minus J50 will get cancelled and the total impedance is 50 ohms. Okay, so kindly understand, you should be able to pick up how the clue is given. Okay, so it has mentioned clearly that the inductive reactance is equal to capacitive reactance. How you have to identify? He has mentioned that the current is in phase with voltage. Okay, it means the AC circuit exhibits resonance condition. Okay, so observing the question is very, very important. The inductor current or the input current is in phase with voltage, right? So finally, is that up to 2 decimal is 50.00. Now let us proceed to another problem. In the circuit shown, what value of C will cause a unity power factor at AC source? So 230 volts, 50 hertz. Correct? You have 4 choices, and the inductive reactance is 30 angle of 40 degree. That is, it is given in polar form. Frequency is 50 hertz. So what value of C will cause a unity power factor? So here also the resonance comes into picture, but this is a parallel circuit. Sometimes they call this as a tank circuit. Tank circuit is nothing but a combination of inductor and capacitor in parallel, but it has an inductive reactance, that is a combination of resistor and inductor in series. Together they are in parallel with the capacitance. Now let us go for the solution. What is the condition? The inductive reactance must be equal to the capacitive reactance. Okay, that is Xc divided by Rc square plus Xc square is equal to XL divided by RL square plus XL square. This is the condition for resonance for a parallel circuit. Okay. So you can you already know that XL is equal to, convert that rectangular to polar. Okay, so you'll be getting the you have to convert the polar to rectangular. You'll be getting R value and XL value separately. And since you can notice that in the circuit, you have only a capacitor, resistance value is 0. So RC is 0. So XC by XC square is 1 by XC. So this gives XC equal to 46.67. What is XC? 1 by 2 pi FC. After substituting that, you'll be getting 68.2 microfarads. So you have 4 choices: 68.1, 165, 0.68, 6.81. So the close or the nearest answer is 68.1 microfarads. So see here, you have 0.68 to 6.81, which are nearly close to 68.1. So you have to take care that you should not commit any errors while working out the problems. Okay, so sometimes a small decimal mistake will give you a wrong solution. So please be watchful and cautious. Okay, so for a parallel circuit, the magnitude, okay, of inductive reactance is equal to the magnitude of capacitive reactance. That is XC by RC square plus XC square is equal to XL by RL square plus XL square. So from that we have found C. Okay, students, I hope you are able to follow the problems clearly. Now let us proceed to another question. The circuit shown below, determine the total current and power factor. Okay, so the input voltage is 50 volts, 100 hertz, capacitor is 100 microfarads, resistor in series with capacitor is 10 ohm. Okay, you have 30 ohm resistor connected in parallel with the 0.1 Henry inductor. Now, first let us determine inductive reactance XL equal to 2 pi FL. So J62.83, XC equal to 1 by 2 pi FC minus J15.91. You can notice that 30 ohm and XL are connected in parallel. Okay, so you have to convert to an equivalent value. Now the total impedance is add the XC parameter with the 10 ohm. Convert to polar, that is minus J15.91 plus 10 plus 24.43 plus J11.66. So Z of T is 34.69, angle of minus 7.02. Okay. How to find power factor? It is very simple. Power factor is cosine of the angle of impedance. Okay. So what is the angle of impedance? Minus 7.02, cosine of angle of minus 7.02 or cos of phi, that is cos 7.02, 0.99. Now total current I is equal to V by Z. What is V? 50. What is Z? 34.69, angle minus 7.02. Okay, so this is a very simple equation only. So I is equal to 1.44, angle 7.02. So the most important thing here you should understand is how to determine the power factor, cosine of the angle of total impedance, cos of 7.02. Okay, and the remaining calculations are very simple and they are all nearly similar to DC circuit analysis only. And take care, XL is 2 pi FL, XC is 1 by 2 pi FC. Okay. Now let us work out a problem related to maximum power transfer. Okay. For the circuit shown below, determine the condition for maximum power transfer. You have a 100 volts source. 5 and J5 are connected in series. 3 and minus J4 are connected in series. You have another voltage source 50 volts. Exactly, you have an impedance ZL. Okay. Now, kindly understand, if it is a DC circuit, the condition for maximum power transfer is what? The load resistance must be equal to Thevenin's equivalent resistance. Okay. But for AC, you have different conditions. And one of the important conditions is the load impedance is equal to complex conjugate of Thevenin's impedance. So that's why I'm saying that whenever you analyze whenever you work out a AC circuit analysis, the factor impedance is very, very important. Many students, they do not take impedance seriously and they land themselves in trouble. So be watchful, be careful. The load impedance is equal to complex conjugate of Thevenin impedance. Okay. So in this circuit, actually, if you find Thevenin's impedance and if you find the complex conjugate, that's sufficient. Okay. Step 1. First, remove the load impedance. Okay. Now 5 plus J5 is connected in parallel with 3 minus J4. Be watchful. Both are not connected in series. They are connected in parallel. Are you able to understand? So clearly understand the circuit. Modifying and developing the circuit is very, very important. Okay. So 5 plus J5 and 3 minus J4 are not connected in series. Both of them are connected in parallel. Okay. So the equivalent impedance is 4.23 minus J1.15. Now I told you the condition for maximum power transfer is the load impedance is equal to complex conjugate of Thevenin impedance. So 4.23 plus J1.15. Okay, this is the solution. Now let us proceed to another problem. For the circuit shown, determine the Norton's equivalent circuit across the terminals AB. Okay, so you have a voltage source of 25 volts. 3 and J4 are connected in series. Together 4 and minus J5 are connected in series. The question is to determine the Norton's equivalent circuit across the terminals AB. Now we can, instead of finding the short circuit current directly, we can work out in a different way. The short circuit current is also equal to open circuit voltage divided by Thevenin's equivalent impedance. Okay, let's start. V of AB, okay, it's equal to 25 into 4 minus J5 divided by 4 minus J5 plus 3 plus J4. So V of AB is 22.63 minus 43.21. See, I'm finding open circuit voltage across AB. AB is a open circuit point. Okay. So I'm using voltage division rule. See, dear students, one of the most important criteria or requirement in GATE examination is you need to utilize the time as best as possible. Okay, so here I can also utilize I can also utilize Ohm's law. I is equal to V by Z, and then V is equal to I into Z. Okay, but that will be too lengthy. But instead of that, and not only lengthy, it is time consuming. Instead of that, I'm using voltage division rule. Okay, so open circuit voltage across EAB. So V into Z1 divided by Z1 plus Z2. Now, short circuit impedance or Thevenin's impedance. Okay, I have to deactivate the voltage source. So I have to short circuit the voltage source. I have to draw a straight line. Now 3 plus J4 is connected in parallel with 4 minus J5. I want to find the equivalent short circuit impedance, which is 4.52 angle 9.92. Now the short circuit current is open circuit voltage divided by short circuit impedance. So the short circuit current is 5 minus 53.13. So the Norton's equivalent circuit is the short circuit current in parallel with Thevenin's equivalent impedance. Okay, so you should notice one thing. Both the Thevenin as well as Norton are dual with respect to each other. If you find any difficulty In determining the short circuit current, you can go for Thevenin's voltage. Thevenin's voltage or Thevenin's open circuit voltage. From that, you can find the short circuit current because both are dual. Okay. So the final solution is short circuit current in parallel with Thevenin's equivalent impedance. Right? Okay. Now let us proceed with some further problems. Okay. See the circuit. For the circuit given in the figure, the voltage across the capacitor is what? Kindly understand one thing. All the three passive elements are connected in series. 100 kilo ohm, 1 microfarad and 100 kilo ohm resistor. All three are connected in series with a voltage source. The question is very simple. Voltage across the capacitor. The input voltage is 5 sin 5t. Right? Okay. First find Xc, 1 by omega c. Omega is 5, c is 1 into 10 power minus 6. Vc is voltage across the capacitor. See once again how voltage division rule is handy. Okay, how it is very effective and very useful in series circuit analysis. Series means when all the passive elements are connected in series. Okay. So voltage division rule is one of the best and most simple as well as effective method to find voltage across any passive component. So 5 into sin 5t into minus 0.2 into 10 power 6j divided by 200 minus 0.2 into 10 power 6j. So 2.5 minus j 2.5 sin 5t. Okay, or 2.5 root 2 minus 45 degree. That is, I'm converting polar form to rectangular. Okay, and then I'm converting to radians. 5t minus 0.25 pi. That is 45 into pi divided by 180 degrees. Okay. So you have four choices. See, in all the choice, you have 2.5 root 2 or 1.25 root 2. Okay, so once again, be watchful. And then 5t minus 0.25 again, 5t minus 0.125. So your choice is 0.25 pi. 2.5 root 2 sine 5t minus 0.25 pi. Okay, so that it is very simple. You convert the angle 45 degree to radians, multiply into pi divided by 180 degrees. Okay, so pi divided by 180 degrees, 1 by 4 pi, 0.25 pi. That's all, very simple. So it requires only some simple skill, simple logical analysis to understand how to convert a rectangular to polar or vice versa. Okay. Now let us proceed to next problem. The independent current source shown delivers 80 watts, absorbs 80 watts, delivers 40 watts, absorbs 40 watts. So you have a voltage dependent current source. Okay, that's what the dependent current source. The active voltage source is 20 volts, a resistor is 5 amps. It's very simple. The dependent current source is V1 by 5. What is V1? Very simple, 20. Okay, so the current is 4 amps. So I square R 16 square, 4 square into 5 is 80 watts. Okay, so it delivers 80 watts. A, sorry, it absorbs 80 watts. Okay, B, because it can a dependent current cannot deliver power. Okay, it can only absorb the power, so it absorbs 80 watts. So please be careful. See, he has given the solutions in a tricky manner. Okay, we should be very smart enough. So understand the basic science. A dependent current source will never deliver. It can only absorb. So it absorbs 80 watts. Choice B is correct. Okay. Now Let us go for another interesting a DC current of 26 microamps flows through the circuit. The diode is in forward biased and its ideality factor is 1. At the quiescent point, the diode has a junction capacitance of 0.5 nanofarad. Its neutral region resistance can be neglected. Assume that the room temperature thermal equivalent voltage is 26 millivolts. For omega 2 into 10 power 6 radian per second, the amplitude of small signal component of diode current in microamps is what? So see, a DC current flows, but the input voltage is AC. Omega is 2 into 10 power 6, right? Okay. Now first draw the small signal model. I have a AC voltage. Then the small signal model is, he has mentioned clearly, the diode has a junction capacitance of 0.5 nanofarads. That's very, very important. And it also holds a resistance of 1 kilo ohm. Okay, diode resistance. So see, a DC current of 26 microamps flows and a capacitor 0.5 nanofarads. How I found the diode resistance? Because DC current by is 26 microamps. Okay, and the thermal voltage is 26 millivolts. So the diode resistance is the ratio of thermal voltage divided by the DC current. 26 into 10 power minus 3 divided by 26 into 10 power minus 6, 1 kilo ohm. This is the small signal model, and notice that I have the output load 100 ohms. So first to draw the small signal model. Now what is XC1 by omega C, right? Now what is the equivalent impedance? 100 into minus J100 divided by 100 minus J100. Okay, sorry, 1000 into minus J1000 divided by 1000 minus J1000, because I'm getting the equivalent combination of the capacitance and diode resistance, which are connected in parallel, plus 100. So the equivalent impedance is 781 minus 39.80. Now what is the diode current? So in the question given, the amplitude of small signal component of diode current is ID is equal to V. What is V? 5 sine omega t millivolts. So 5 into 10 power minus 3 divided by Z equivalent. So 6.4 microamps. So he's asking up to 1 decimal place in microamps. Okay, it is 6.4 microamps. So listen, students, problems like this are not simple. Okay, you can notice from the question itself, he is asking the small signal model. How to develop the small signal model? You have to first find the diode resistance. How will you find the diode resistance? He has mentioned the thermal equivalent voltage, and he has mentioned a DC current of 26 microamps. You know that I is equal to V by R. Here I is equal to, or R is equal to VT divided by IDC. Okay, again omega is given 2 into 10 power 6 radians. Okay, so the amplitude of small signal modulus of diode current ID is nothing but input voltage divided by equivalent impedance. Okay, so this, even though it resembles a DC model, the input voltage is actually AC. Take that into picture. Okay, now let us solve another interesting problem. A AC voltage source V is equal to 10 sine T is applied to the network. Assume R1 3A, okay, R2 6, R3 9, and the diode is ideal. The RMS current through the diode is what? So I hope you remember we worked out a cubical resistance problem while analyzing KCL and KVL. Similarly, here also, this is another cubical analysis problem, but at the same time, it has three different resistors. In the previous problem, what we worked, we had only a single equivalent resistance, so that our analysis was very easy. But here, you try to understand, we have R1 3 kilo ohm, R2 6 kilo ohm, R3 9 kilo ohm. So you have three different resistor model, and we are assuming the diode to be ideal. So how to proceed? Kindly understand one thing. Once the current enters, it has three resistance path, but all the three, if you observe properly, all the three resistance are R1 only. Okay, so the entry path is equivalent resistance. So you should understand. So you should apply the same rule what we did in the previous case. Okay, you can notice it, the current, the RMS current enters the point A. It has three paths: A to B, A to D, A to F, AB, AD, AF. This all the three paths have the same resistance R1. Now let us start. Okay, so I have made the analysis clearly that the current through R1 be I. Again, another R1, that is current through AD is I. Current through AB is I. Current through AF is I. So the input current is 3A. This is the important logic you need to understand. Once I enters at D, it has two resistance. Luckily, both are R2 and both are same. So I will be I by 2, I by 2. Right? And at B, it enters two paths, both the paths are R2. So I will be I by 2, I by 2. Right? Again, another important point you need to understand, at F, the current enters as I. It has two different paths, both are same, I by 2, I by 2. I by 2, I by 2 enters E, total current is I. I by 2, I by 2, I by 2 enters G. Total current is I. I by 2 and I by 2 enters G. Total current is I. I enters H from E. I enters H from C. I also enters H from G. I plus I plus I 3A. So current entering a node is equal to current leaving the node. Which is the entering node? A. Which is the leaving node? H. 3I equal to 3I. We have only one loop which is perfectly satisfied. Right? So we are going to apply Kirchhoff's voltage law for loop 1 only. So even though the question seems to be little fuzzy, you may think all the resistors are different. No, at the entering point, you have same path. Okay. Now let us apply KCL at node 1. Sum of potential rise plus potential drop is equal to what? 0. Okay. So I'm going to apply that rule now. Plus 10. Why plus 10? Minus 2 plus. Voltage is 10 volts. See, AC voltage 10 volts. Even though it is AC, for applying the Kirchhoff's voltage law, we are putting sign notation. Plus 10. Minus I into R. So minus current through AB, I into what is our R1. Okay. 3 into 10 power 3. Then minus current through BJ, minus I by 2 R2, minus I into 9 into 10 power 3. Okay, this is what? G into H. So 15I into 10 power 3 is equal to 15. So E is equal to 10 by 15, 2 by 3 milliamps. Okay. So the total current is equal to 3I Why the total current is 3I? So take care. Because you can notice that the input current is 3I. Okay, so 3 into 2 by 3, 2 milliamps. So be cautious, students. Here the total current is not I. The total current entering the principal node is I plus I plus I 3I. So 3 into 2 by 3, 2 milliamps. What is I? This current is nothing but maximum current. What is IRMS? I max by 2. Okay. So 2 into 10 power minus 3 by 2, which is nothing but 1 milliamps. Okay. So the RMS value of the diode current is 1 milliamps. So don't forget, it is not 2 milliamps. The 2 milliamps current is nothing but maximum current. Okay. So RMS current you have to divide by 2. So that is nothing but 1 milliamps. Are you able to understand? Okay. So please don't think too much about a problem. You should know how to attend with out of box thinking. Okay, so these problems require some brainstorming. You can notice that you have 3 different resistance values, but the path through which the current differs has same resistance. Okay, so try to solve such interesting problems. So you should understand one thing, the diode is ideal, which means that you don't have any power loss. Okay, so that is the heat dissipation is ideally 0. And IRMS is not by root 2 here, it is actually by 2, which is nothing but 1 milliamps. Okay. Because it is average only, you have to divide by root 2. For maximum, you have to divide by 2. Now, let us discuss some more problems. Okay. This is a very interesting problem. A segment of a circuit is shown. V of our voltage across the resistor is 5 volt. V of C voltage across the capacitor is 4 sine 2t. V of L voltage across the inductor is what? You have a current source, the active current source, the current entering is 2 amps, right? And the capacitor is 1 farad, resistor is 5 ohms. Okay, so you're supposed to determine the voltage across the inductor, right? Okay, so here I'm using current entering the node is equal to current leaving the node. Okay, a perfect application of Kirchhoff's current law. What is the current entering the node? 2 amps. Okay, current has 3 paths for leaving: current through the resistor, current through the inductor, current through the capacitor. Okay, current through the resistor is VR by R. Okay, also what is VR? Voltage across the resistor. Okay, and what is the resistor? 5. So 5 by 5, 1 ohms, plus current through the capacitor. Okay, you know that the expression for current through the capacitor is given by ICC dVc by dt. Okay, IC is equal to C dVc by dt, that is C into rate of change of voltage across the capacitor. What is the voltage across the capacitor? 4 sine 2t. What is C? 1 farads. Okay, so 1 into d by dt 4 sine 2t. Okay, plus current through the inductor. What is the current through the inductor? 1 by L integral of VL dt. Okay, what is 1 by L? What is L here? 2. integral of VL dt. Okay, you have to just substitute, and you can take the current through the capacitor to other side, and you'll be getting integral of VL dt is 2 minus 16 cos 2t. So to remove the integral, I have to differentiate the other side. Differentiation of constant 2 is 0, and differentiation of cos is minus sign, minus 2 sine 2t. So minus 16 into minus 2, 32 sine 2t. So the voltage across the inductor is 32 sine 2t. Choice B is correct. Okay, so please, you can notice once again here, even though it is AC, right, they have put some sign notations to understand the direction of current. Okay, so please be careful here. We are applying the perfect rule of Kirchhoff's current law. Current entering the node is equal to current leaving the node. Always remember once again, current through the resistor is I is equal to V by R. Current through the inductor is 1 by L integral VL dt. Current through the capacitor is C dVc by dt. Okay, so once if I want to remove the integral, I have to differentiate the other side. Kindly understand, differentiating an integral will remove the integral. That's why integral of VL dt is VL only, right? Okay. Now let us proceed to another problem. Okay. The value of impedance in the figure which is most appropriate to cause parallel resonance at 500 Hertz. Okay, you have 2 Henry and impedance in parallel together in series with 5 ohms. Okay. Now, I told you clearly, resonance will occur only when Z is capacitive. In parallel resonance condition, okay. Now, say 2 Henry is connected in parallel with impedance. You can notice that a resonance will occur only Z is capacitive in parallel resonance condition. Susceptance. Kindly understand one thing. Condition for a series resonances, the inductive reactance must be equal to capacitive reactance. Okay, but for a parallel circuit, the susceptance should be 0. See, for parallel circuit, what? It's a combination of conductance plus susceptance. Okay, so if susceptance is 0 means 1 by j omega L plus j omega C is equal to 0, or 1 minus omega square LC is equal to 0, and omega is 1 by root of LC. So from that you can find CC is equal to 1 by omega square L. What is omega? It is given in the question as 500. What is L? 2 Henry. Okay. So from that C is equal to 0.05 microfarads. So which choice D is correct? So kindly understand, students, for a parallel circuit, okay, susceptance must be 0. For a series circuit, inductive reactance should be equal to capacitive reactance. Okay, so kindly understand these variations. Okay. Okay. So from this you can find out easily the choice is 0.05 microfarads. So you can notice in all the cases, whenever AC circuit comes into picture, the most important point is resonance and impedance, right? Another important point which decides the AC power circuit is frequency. Okay, so I hope you had a detailed discussion about the different problems in AC circuit analysis. We shall meet once again for the next session. Thank you for attending the GATE coaching class. Thank you very much.